All right, want to welcome everybody here to today's webinar. This is going to be one that I think is going to be a little bit different, but I think you're going to walk away with a lot of knowledge on how to enhance your business and ultimately how to make it more profitable. One of the big things that I truly believe makes you successful in this business is being able to find products and markets. We talk about that all the time. However, I think that's step one or two. And step two is being able to manage your business on an ongoing basis. As a merchant, we're responsible for managing the quantity of our inventory, for optimizing our pages, for being able to have the right dollars invested so we can take and then invest in other products. As I coach so many of you, I see things people getting sidetracked with the business management part of it. So I always thought there was an opportunity to do a little bit of training in that area, because if you get that part right, I think ultimately that's what's going to allow you to grow and scale your business into as big as you ever want to do it. And with that said, I don't think there's a lot of people out there who truly understand the merchant side or the business management side of being a merchant. So I've been doing this for 27 years plus now, and kind of how I made stock and trade long ago before I got in the Amazon side of it. But I came across somebody who I thought, we had a conversation. I'm sitting here thinking as we're talking, man, he gets it. He understands business management just along the same thoughts of what my philosophies are. And I thought it might be a good idea to come in and have him talk to us today a little bit on business management and ultimately on some ways that you can take and ultimately profit from your business. So I want to introduce Anthony Watts. Anthony is, 11 time zones away from us from the East Coast? 12? Anthony, how far away is it?
It's exactly 12 hours. I'm in Thailand at the moment.
All right. So he's all the way on the other side of the big pond from us, not the little pond going into Europe. So one, it's late in the night for him, so I sincerely thank him, one, for being here, and two, for staying up and being able to talk to us. But with Anthony, since I was going to give you a whole lot more stuff but since I've kind of run over through my tech fault, I want to say again, thank you for being here, and see if you could talk a little bit about where your thoughts on business management philosophy are. And then also, too, Anthony has a software that puts these philosophies in place. And for those of you who know, I'm not a big user of software. I use AS Inspector and Jungle Scout, and I use Sales Background Reviews, and I do use Merchant Words a little bit. But this software, those softwares are really all for the beginning parts. This is the first word software I've seen, and I need to let everybody know I get approached 4, 5, 6, 8 times a week from somebody wanting me to talk about something, and this is the first program that I think really truly helps you in business management. The first person I've talked to who I think understands it. So, Anthony, long-winded way for me to take 30 seconds and turn it into 3 minutes. So, again, welcome, and if you just start talking a little bit about your business management and thoughts, and I'll be here if you need me. I guess I need to turn the screen over to you. Let's see if I can.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me.
All right. So let me do that. So again, let's see if I can have another tech issue here. So hopefully you should have control of the screen right now.
I've got it. Just let me know if you can see that.
I can. We're good. All right. Then I'll be quiet.
Okay, fantastic.
Do your thing.
Okay. So, my background is sourcing in product development in China and Hong Kong. I've been in Asia around 10 years. 7 years of that was in Hong Kong and China, working every day with 3 or 4 different factories, 6 days a week. And also, I've been living in Japan and Vietnam, doing very similar work, sourcing products, product development. And I've worked with many different brands across Europe and the UK mainly initially, and many different types of product category, from electronics to bags to printed products. And what it taught me, all of this different experience, was that you can have many, many different kinds of niches and products. And even though one thing is expensive to make, it doesn't mean that you're also going to get a high margin for it. And another product might be very cheap to make, but you still could get a very high price for it. For example, a mobile phone case costs 20 or 30 cents in the factory, but they can sell for 20 or 30 dollars for an iPhone cover, whereas a kettle, which has much more plastic metal components, can cost $5 or $6 in the factory and retail for $10. One costs cents and retails for $20 plus, so hundreds of times percent profit, whereas the other one is very, very slim margins. So doing all of these different types of products with different retailers and businesses and brands showed me clearly that what I should be looking at when I'm considering a product is not what the product is, but the numbers behind the product. How much cash I have to put down into the product, and then how much return I'm going to get from that product as well. So as I'm managing my Amazon business, really what I'm looking for is the first thing I'm checking for any product I'm considering is there enough sales demand there? I mean, if there's not enough sales demand there, it doesn't matter how good my item is or how competitive my price is, it's going to be very, very hard to ship that product. Once that criteria is out the way, the number one criteria I'm really looking for is how little can I invest for how much return I can get on that particular product. So I'm always looking for the return on investment, the profit margin, and the markup percentage for a particular item. So I usually prefer small, light items. One, because things that are smaller and lighter tend also to be much easier, cheaper to manufacture, but doesn't necessarily mean that they sell for a lower price. And then also, on top of that, if it's small and light, it means I can send it by air freight and not sea freight. And the difference that makes is huge, because if I'm doing my first order, if I'm sending it by air, I can order what I think is enough for 1 month and then ship it in, and if I run out, I can quickly restock because it only takes a week to go by air. But if I'm going by sea instead, then I have to allow for maybe 30 to 45 days of additional stock, which is more cash tied up, more capital tied up for the first order, because I have to wait for it to go by sea, and also for reorders, I need to order more each time. So by going for small light items, I tend to keep the manufacturing cost down, but also the amount of capital I need to put in as low as possible. It allows me to test more products, because with Amazon, we can do all the numbers up front, test something, and then find that it doesn't quite perform as we expected. I think there's an element maybe of luck. You can make the listing as good as possible, you can optimize the keywords, you can optimize the product, you can make it fantastic, but for some reason, another seller's product, which doesn't look as good as yours in your own opinion, might sell better. So by having a smaller amount of capital invested up front and lighter, smaller items, it allows me just to test initially, and if it's a good product and it starts selling and it gets traction, to quickly then reorder and get more into it. So whilst running my Amazon business, what I found was that using Seller Central and the dashboard there and all of the different reports, it was actually quite hard to know what was really going on with my product. I didn't know if it was being successful enough or not. And once I had more than one SKU, then it was very difficult to easily get all the numbers on every single product. So what I started to do was create Excel spreadsheets for each part of my business so I could track things like keywords, sales and the profit for an item, the inventory as well. And I had a virtual assistant who would help me fill out that data. But what I found was we were spending half the week collecting data from Amazon's system to pull together and then analyze it. So with a very good friend of mine who I've known for several years, who's been 10, 15 years in the product, in the software development industry, what we started to do was take all of these different spreadsheets for managing our Amazon businesses and make it into a functioning tool, first for ourselves, and then we started to release to friends who were also selling on Amazon, and then we opened it up to a wider market as well. And I'm going to run through some of the main features of this. And really, it's been designed for sellers, by sellers, but if you have any suggestions as to things you want to see in the tool, things that you think we can improve, or additional features you'd like us to add, just feel free to drop us an email at hello@cashcowpro.com, and we'll definitely look at how we add that in there, because all we're trying to do is create one simple tool which you can use for your first product or your 10th, 20th, or 50th product. So you can run your Amazon business through the software and not have to worry about collecting all the different parts of data, but quickly and powerfully have all the data you need to analyze analyze how your business is doing. So I'm just going to run through a couple of the key features and explain how it helps me in my business too. So just starting on this file, let me close this. Technical issue. I'll bring that to the front. There we go. Okay, so this is the main dashboard, and really all it's doing is showing me my sales for a particular time period. But what we've also gone and done is instantly we can see how many are full price sales, how many are promotional sales, what the gross profit for my business is for that particular time period. So let's say for this 30 days, and this is a dummy account to show you. I'm not giving away all my top secret products, but I will run through how I do use the tool. And basically what we're showing here on this dashboard is your sales, taking away the FBA fees, the promotional fees, the pay-per-click fees, and what we do then is also take away the cost of your product and your freight. So at any time, you know your exact profit, how much you're making. And the reason this is important to me is if I'm doing a product and I see that A, it's not selling well, or B, the profit's too low after it's in Amazon, it's been a couple of months, it's been optimized, and it's still not generating enough profit, then what I'm going to do with that product is just let it sell through over time and reinvest that money into something more profitable. So this is a quick snapshot. At any time I can see which SKUs are doing the best, which are making the most profit, which are sucking up the most promotional fees, how much inventory of different products there's left, the BSR. It's a really quick snapshot. And here you can see by day as well. So if I want to see how my whole account is doing, then I can see that very, very quickly too. So I've got all my numbers there. I know how I'm doing day to day. Yes, you can get the sales data from Seller Central, and you can pull those figures manually. I did that myself on Excel before too. Spent several hours each week because I would sit down and review my products every Monday to know how I'm doing. But now we've built this software to automate all that process. We do think it's great value, and it does save you a lot of time. But yes, you can go and pull those numbers from Seller Central. But the additional thing we do is you can just add in your landed cost for a product. That's how much it costs from the factory with freight, and then it automatically calculates your profit for any time period. So you don't need to, do Excels every week or do Excels every month. It's done for you. You don't need to think too much about that. Then what you can also do is if you want to see how you've done this month versus last month, you can quickly do a comparison of those numbers for you as well. So the number one most important thing for a product I'm selling on Amazon is just to track the sales and the performance and the profit. And then you can dig into a particular product by just hitting the SKU number, and then from here we've got much, much more detail on a single item. So for this item you can then see, again, your sales, your full price and your promotional sales, your gross profit and your net profit, the pay-per-click costs for that particular item as well. So you get a real picture of how you're really doing after all your major costs considered for Amazon. But then what we also have is these tabs here, which then give you all the other details you need for your product in an instant. So there's no searching around Seller Central, there's no going to your product page and counting how many reviews you had each week. The software automatically tracks all your key metrics, so you can see that data in an instant. So if we go here to inventory, it shows how many on average I've been selling the last 3 days, so it's 3.67 per day. It will tell me when I'm going to run out of stock, and what we're going to be adding here in the next 4 to 6 weeks is it will also tell you when you should reorder and how much you should reorder. It takes the thinking out of knowing what to do with your product. And the way we do that is all you need to do is put in, if your lead time is 30 days, it will warn you 30 days before you're going to run out how much you should order to cover the next 30 days and when that order should be placed. What we also show on this particular page too is for your last 3 days, 7 days, and 30 days, how many you sold for a particular product, and the average per day you've been selling. And what you can see is that these numbers are different, which because the sales on Amazon jump around. So this gives us an indication of, okay, based on my last 30 days, I should be reordering May 21st to 2017. So this product's selling slowly. But on the last 7 days, sales have picked up, slowed down. So actually, the rate's lower, and it's saying September 29th. So what this does is by having the 3 different date ranges, it gives you a kind of picture of when, or roughly when you're going to need to reorder. And then this number, this date here, gives you a clear picture based on the last 3 days of when you should reorder and how much. And we're going to make this a little bit more sophisticated over time, so the prediction will average out the 3 different time periods to give you a much more accurate date. But this is a great quick indication without having to use Excel, without having to calculate, your sales velocity and how much you've been selling over different time periods. You can quickly just scan through a particular product and get all of this key information instantly using the tool. And then you can also see a summary of your inventory below if you need to too. The next section is performance, and we've just done an update to this, so I'm just going to show you on a PowerPoint how this looks. And what this is basically it shows your conversion rate for a product, your sessions, your buy box, and also it shows the change from 7 days ago. So for your page views, your sessions, and your conversion rate, it tracks those. So I personally, every Monday, I go in for 1 or 2 hours, and I go through each SKU, and I just go through these tabs quickly, and I can quickly see what's changed with a product, and I know if there's something I need to action because I see it instantly. All the data's there. I can see versus 7 days ago how it's done, and it's all being calculated for me. So that's the performance section here, and it will keep tracking your conversion rate. The next section for a particular product is your market metrics. So what you do is you put in your main keyword, and then what this will show, I'm not quite sure why that just disappeared suddenly. What this will show is you versus your top 5 competitors for your niche. What your price is. So here my price is 47% of the top 5 guys. So what this tells me when I'm running my business is, okay, I'm priced well below my competitors. I've got room to increase my price. And I can see here my daily sales are only 16% of my top 5 competitors. So what this is telling me is this product is not optimized. If my sales were the same as the average of the top 5, then I'm almost optimized for that market. But at 16%, I can grow my sales a phenomenal amount. So currently it's showing daily sales of 4.6 versus the top 5 of 29 a day. I've got a lot of room for growth. So instantly the tool's telling me this product needs optimizing a lot more. I've got room on the price, and I've got room to grow sales. Then also I can scan through across to reviews, and this is just tracking how many 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1-star reviews I've got, and the change week to week, so that I can check in case there's suddenly a lot of negative reviews, or I'm just monitoring how many positive reviews I'm getting, so I can see how many positive, neutral, negative reviews. So that section, the dashboard, and then drilling into a particular product, I can quickly scan through, check all the details I need to know for a particular item, and boom, I know if there's something I need to action. I can look at how the sales have been doing for the last 30 days or 7 days, look at the trend per day, and see if there's any big drops or increases, and see why. And also, I can see my pay-per-click fees for a particular product and the promo fees. All the data I need to know how my product's doing is there. But what this tool also includes, so that was the dashboard, is you track keywords, and I'll go into why that's important in a moment. We also allow you to do all your feedback collection messaging, very similar to SalesBacker or Feedback Genius. We've just launched this a couple of weeks ago, and what it lets you do is get organic reviews by emailing your customers after they've ordered and asking for a review, and it also helps to prevent negative reviews as well. I mean, I've had customers reply to those automatic emails. We fix the issue well before they ever leave a negative seller or product review, and at the same time, what I found with my key products is that the messaging going out after the order's placed has helped to increase the number of organic reviews, and it means that I only have to do a promotion to launch a new product, but then the messaging is working and it's helping me to collect additional reviews and build up my reviews over time. Because one of my targets for my products in any niche is the number of reviews isn't so important. It's more the number of reviews you have versus the competition. Because if they all have 1,000 and you only have 50, then the social proof of the reviews is telling your customers that the competition's product is a proven product and yours is still new. But if you've got 200 reviews in a market where everyone else has 100, you're starting to have that social proof work in your favor. Reviews isn't so much an indication of competition as it is a conversion tool for social proof for customers as well. So then moving on, we have an inventory section. And again, if you click on any one of these, what it will do is it will go to the page I showed you previously on inventory. But all this is a quick summary page here that shows you for all your products what the inventory level is, the sales velocity, and the date it runs out. So it allows you to quickly check if you've got more than one SKU, how your stock's doing, etc. And if you click here, it takes you to that page I showed you before amongst the tabs, and then you can see exactly the details for that particular product and easily choose another product using the window here. The next section is keywords, and keywords is vital to the Amazon business because the way Amazon is firstly a search engine and secondly a product and delivery company. The way all customers find you is through keywords, so the more keyword research you do, the better. You want to build a big list of highly relevant keywords. What I found on Amazon is most of my competition will use the main 1 or 2 keywords, but the 3rd, 4th, and 5th best, they may not include in their listing at all. So whenever I do keyword research, I'm really drilling in. I use Google Keyword Tool, I use Merchant Words, I go to the competitor's URL, I take it and I put that into the Google Keyword Tool and that scrapes those keywords for me. Google does that automatically. I search on Google and look at companies that sell similar products. So if I was selling CrossFit gloves, for example, I'll go look at the CrossFit brands that are out there, put their websites into Google, take those keywords, build a huge list, sort that list by volume, and then filter out the ones I think are highly relevant and relevant. The highly relevant I want in my title and features. The relevant I want to put into my features if possible and description. And then the highly relevant and relevant keywords I'll put into my backend. And then what I do is I put those keywords into Cash Cow Pro, into the tool. Using this here, I can just add them in, and it gives additional suggestions too. And then what I'm doing is I'm tracking, for each product, I'm tracking the top 10 or 20 keywords, because you can track 1,000 keywords if you want to on the tool, but by focusing on 10 and trying to optimize and optimize and optimize for those 10, if you're ranking for 5 to 10 major keywords, you're going to be hitting most of the traffic on Amazon anyway. Then you can think about adding the next 5. Then you can think about adding the next 5. Yes, your back-end search terms need all the keywords, but for tracking, what I do is I put in 5 to 10 main ones. When I'm launching a new item or doing an add-on promotion, I might be giving away 10 to 50. I ask reviewers to search the particular keyword, find the product on Amazon, then add it and buy it with the coupon, because then I can see the effect of that promotion on my keywords, and I track that using the software. The other thing is I found that if your ranking suddenly drops in keywords, your sales is going to follow. Your sales is going to drop too. So I keep an eye on both my sales and how my keyword performance is doing overall as well. And here it shows a 7-day change and a 1-day change and a 30-day change. And what I want to be seeing is maintaining or slightly improving week to week or month to month. If I find there's a sudden big dip, I might do a 10-unit or 20-unit promotion, bring that back up, because sales follow your search results and how often you show up in search results. So it all comes down to keywords in the end. And what the tool does also is a page analysis of whether you're using your key keywords in your title, in your features, in your search term, and in your description. The way we currently do this is using a phrase. We're going to be changing that in the next couple of weeks to split this up. So ankle brace, we would check for ankle and brace in your title, features, search terms, and description, because that's actually how Amazon checks it. And the other thing that Amazon does is it reads left to right. So if in my search terms at the back end I've got brace ankle, it might not be considered as relevant as ankle brace, because Amazon tends to read left to right. I've done hundreds of tests on the front end and the back end of Amazon, and I found that the two things that are important is remembering it reads left to right. So always make sure in your search terms in the back end for your keywords that you've ordered them left to right as well. And the other important thing for Amazon is the proximity, how close those two keywords are. If I've got ankle and brace in my title, but there's several words in between, then a product which has ankle brace together is considered more relevant for that search term. And the same with the back end too. So your most important keywords, your top 3 to 5 keywords in your search terms, title, and features, make sure that it's the phrase reading from left to right, if possible. You can't do that for all 1,000 characters in each line in the search terms, because you'll be there for a month building that. But for your main 3 to 5 keywords, if you focus on that, then it should be optimized for those. Then you can add in additional terms in your search terms and features as well as a bonus. The way I think of keywords is as a market. So basically, if I put in ankle brace in my title and features, then I'm opening myself up to those 100,000 searches for that market. Each additional keyword I add is like a whole new market. And I can show you on Amazon what I mean. So if I search for iPhone case, iPhone 6 case, for example, what will come up is one set of products. But if I now search for the exact same product, but type in iPhone 6 phone case, which should be the same, the result is actually quite a different set of products. Some are the same, but actually the market, the order, the number of reviews they have, it's different. If you look here at this one, so iPhone 6 phone case, the top options, we have 31 reviews, 12 reviews, 474 reviews. But if I now go back to iPhone 6 case, 6,594, 731, 4,396, same product, but 2 different keywords have resulted in 2 different markets being displayed. So that's why optimizing for keywords, tracking keywords in the tool, and checking that you're ranking for different keywords, and spending even a whole day per product doing keyword research is vital to your long-term success on Amazon. Because the keywords you put in the title, the features, the description, and the back end, I even named my images with my main keyword. So that when I save the image 1, image 2, image 3, that I'm going to upload for a product, it's called ankle brace 1, ankle brace 2. I don't know if that affects it totally, but I have found a slight difference in ranking. Another ranking secret I've come across is to, if possible, include the main keyword in the SKU name. So if I'm selling an iPhone 6 case, it can be SKU001 iPhone 6 case. That can be a legitimate SKU name, but I found that having that main keyword in there has also helped ranking. So of vital importance, keyword tracking, keyword ranking, and monitoring that. I do it personally on a weekly basis for my core products. And then what we also have is something called the keyword matrix, which lets you just put in a keyword like iPhone 6 case, for example. And what this does is it shows you if it's being used by the competition in the features, in the title, and the description as well. And also what we show here is whether they've got 5 out of 5 features and 7 out of 7 images. So this top one only has 6 out of 7 images, so it's green, but the rest is showing red. So instantly to me this keyword is competitive, and the tool tells me that too. And what we'll be doing with this particular keyword matrix feature is allowing you to put in 5 or 10 keywords and see which one is the least competitive. So then you can focus on first trying to rank for that. So if you're launching a new product, use the least competitive keyword, try to rank for that. Once you rank for that, you can add a new keyword, a new market, and build up traffic for that too by doing a small promotion. The way I see keywords is Amazon sticks keyword to search. So it's almost like it adds glue every time someone searches for that and then looks at your product and then buys your product. It sticks and attaches that keyword with that search. So the more keywords you rank for, the more markets you apply to, and therefore, in theory, further down, you'll get more sales too because you're being seen by more customers. The other benefit of doing a lot of keyword research up front is that you can then take that huge list of keywords and test it in pay-per-click. And the way I do my pay-per-click is I take this huge list of keywords I created, even if some of them aren't directly relevant to the product, I put them in. I start with a $5 to $10 a day budget. I start with a 50 to 80 cents a day click bid. The lower the better, because what I found is if I tell Amazon, sure, go bid $5 a click, it ends up bleeding me dry on pay-per-click and I lose money. But if I start low and incrementally increase it by 10 cents, I find that my return on investment is way, way higher. I used to have ACOS of in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I brought that down to under 10% for some products, just by starting with lower bids overall and very slowly increasing that. Because if you're spending less per click and still getting a similar number of conversions, your return on investment is much, much higher. And we will be adding pay-per-click functions to this. We do track how much you spend, but we will be adding in the next 4 to 6 weeks a tool that helps you optimize your pay-per-click as well. That's something we're developing currently. Okay, so that covers what I think are the 2 main aspects of my Amazon business. Is 1, making sure I'm tracking my keywords, 2, making sure I'm tracking my sales and my profit and my data. With those 2 bits of information, I know how my products are doing. I know instantly there's something I need to action because I can see using the tool if something's dropping off or something's not going the way I expect. It shows you charts and trends too. You can hit the table or the chart to see the chart. So it's much easier to get a clearer picture of what's going on. And really, across all our friends who do Amazon businesses, we all have a fixed day of the week and a fixed day of the month when we do a small review and a major review. So each Monday I'm checking all my sales for my different products, and once a month on a particular day I'm going over and checking everything for each SKU in detail, including the pay-per-click, downloading the reports and checking those too, as well as going through Cash Cow Pro and checking all the numbers, because you need to check on a periodic basis so that you can compare apple to apple and see how you're doing. And it's only when you have your real numbers like that, your real profits, that you can then decide, okay, either I invest in a new product or this one's sucking up too much cash, maybe I cut this one and try a different product. You need those numbers to be able to make critical business decisions. The next section of the tool is something we're quite excited about. It's called A/B testing. And basically what this does is if I hit this button here, I can show you it's on the menu here, A/B testing. If I hit this button here, I can test 4 different titles, 4 different sets of features, 4 different main images, or 4 different prices automatically. So what I do is I choose the product I want to test, I put in my 4 different prices, and then I hit create. And what it will do, here's the cycle time. I can choose between 3 and 10 days. What it will do is for each of these prices, it will automatically change it in Amazon, and then it will come back and it will tell you which price generates the most sales for you and has the highest conversion. So it takes the guesswork out of pricing. Before, I would just choose a price which I think sounded good compared to the competition. So the competition were averaging around 20, I might do 19.97. But what I found was when I actually tested the price was sometimes when I increased the price, sales also jumped through the roof. And sometimes when I decreased the price, sales jumped through the roof, but profits also jumped through the roof. It's really product dependent. Just because your competitor is priced at one price, the customers perceive you differently, and so your price could be a different price and still sell more. So it's really important to test different prices, and what we recommend is to use at least 5 to 7 days per price option that you're testing, is because Amazon's system has so many cogs and moving parts, it sometimes takes a few minutes, a few hours, or even a day or two to go all the way through, and for you to be really able to see any change to your title, your price, your features, or your images. So if you're doing anything, even if you're doing yourself, going in and changing the price, allow 5 days or a week and track the sales, track the profit change, track the results over that time, because Amazon sales for most of my products can jump from, an item can do 10 units one day and 30 the next, and then 15 the next, and average out at around 20, but it's jumping all over the place. And if you're making changes, you don't know if the jump is random or because of your change. So that's why I recommend you test for a longer period of time. And so what I regularly do is, for new items, I'll go in and I'll test different prices, and for existing items, every month or 2 months, I test to re-optimize the image, the copy, the price. And so I'll go in, I'll put in, you can put in a minimum of 2 options. I normally put in 4 options. I'll test those, and I'll see which one is generating the most sales and the most conversions. So what it comes back to here is it will tell you variation winner. It tells me that 997 for this product generates the highest level of conversion and has the highest level of sales. So I can see that particular test as well and drill into it to see more if I want to know how the other variations perform too. So that's the A/B testing section. I know this is a lot to take on in one go, and this is just going to overview these other parts of the tool as well. You may have used something like Feedback Genius or Sales Backer to collect your emails. We've recently added this functionality too. So for a customer's first purchase, a repeat purchase, or promotion, you can have 3 different email sequences, or the same email sequence if you want. You can just show first purchases. You can just enable this, and then this will be the email sequence for all your products. But if you find you've got a lot of repeat customers for the same item, you might want to set up a repeat purchase sequence too. What we've done is, if you sign up for Cash Cow Pro, the sequences are automatically created for you. All you have to do is hit enable, and if you want to customize the sequences, you just hit edit, and it's really easy. Here are the buttons to put in things like the order ID, the order date, when to send the email. We tried to make the interface as easy and simple to use when setting up emails. Automatically, you start with 3 emails, and there's explainer video back here, tells you exactly how to use the tool. I'll just briefly cover it. Email 1, email 2, email 3. It's easy to add a new email too. You can attach files. You can choose when it goes out as well. So I found that the sequence that I've been using, and this is the one that we've set up here, just after the order's shipped, after the order's delivered, and then 7 days later, one has actually helped me stop a lot of negative reviews from products. I've caught problems early in the bud. I tend to give customers an instant refund of 25% if it's a minor issue, 100% if it's a major issue, and not let them keep the product, because there's no point in them sending a defective product back to me. Keeping customers happy, getting more positive reviews is really important. One negative review acts as an anchor. One negative is like 10 positives. So having this email sequence in place, optimizing it, has prevented those negative reviews and helps me collect more positive reviews for my products too. And what we also have is, if someone leaves a negative seller feedback, we have an automatic email that goes out instantly as soon as they leave it, and if you hit enable, that will go on. And what this does is it helps to prevent them going on to leave a negative product review, because they may have left you a negative seller review and then moving on to do a product review, but boom, in comes an email into their inbox which asks them if can do to help solve the problem. You might be asleep at the time. It could be 1 a.m. that someone's ordered and they're deciding to leave a negative review. By having this automatic feedback catcher in place, it will help prevent some of those negative reviews. Yes, you can remove negative seller reviews that are about your product, but this is to help also stop them going on to then leave a negative product review as well. We have additional little sections here under the messaging, which is unsubscribe. So if a customer asks you to stop emailing them, you can just add their email in there, and the system will stop. And a summary of the emails that go out too. So that's the messaging part of the tool. And then, so we've covered quite a lot from dashboard, products, keywords, inventory, A/B testing, so testing what's the best price and title, messaging. What we also have is some tools around finding good new ideas for products to sell on Amazon. And what this is, we call it our 100,000 niche selector, because we took 100 million products off Amazon, separated them into niches, so like utility shelf here. And then what we've done is we've done everything from getting the sales, the price, but we also calculated an estimate of how much it's going to cost to ship 1,000 units by sea and by air, and the factory price too. So we've pulled the, let me get it for this one here, the utility shelf. So what we've done is we've gone to Alibaba, we've pulled the factory price range, we've taken the freight cost, and we've given you what it will cost on estimate landed cost per unit. So that's the cheapest of sea and air plus the product cost. This product's going to cost $18.77. And what this tool is designed to do is this data gives you a quick overview of thousands and thousands of potential ideas. When I was first doing my Amazon business, I followed all the advice of, okay, make a list of 100 or 200 products and then check the numbers and then choose the top few and then action those. But what we did here was we actually created a list of over 100,000 niches, pulled all the numbers for everything, and then ranked them into great, good, and competitive markets. And there's a explainer video here and a huge amount of text explaining what every single part of this means. So if there's anything you're not sure about, you can check it there, or you can email us and ask us. But basically, a product is great if there's not too many reviews, the sales are over $10,000 a month, the margins are good, the landed cost is reasonable. So if everything lines up, it falls into a great niche. If maybe the product has great sales, there's a good margin, but there's a lot of reviews, it might fall under competitive instead. So if it's over 800 reviews, even if the sales are great, the profit's great, but it's competitive, it'll slot under competitive and you won't see it in the great market. So competitive really is maybe for more experienced sellers to get ideas. Great and good will give you just scrolling through the pages and skipping through will give you lots of ideas for potential products that you can do. And then what I recommend you do is even once you've got the products on this list, is still to drill in further, because you need to know whether the keywords are good, so you need to do some keyword research around the product, but also just to go onto Amazon, have a look at the competitive listings, and just double check whether you think it's a good market or not as well. And what competition summary is and competition matrix are just different ways of viewing the same data. So if I hit more, boom, this is the competition matrix. It shows the utility shelf there. And the reason we did it like this, position 1 to 16, is just to mimic how Amazon sometimes displays the data to give you an idea of, okay, so maybe I can't rank in the top 4, but I can rank in the position 5 to 10 for this product. And again, we've got a summary here of the average of the top 5 ESR, average of the top 5 reviews. The top 5 sell $42,000 each per month on average. So, and the price of the top 5. The reason I use top 5 is if you just look at, if you go on something like Jungle Scout and you look at one item and say, hey, this item's doing $50,000 a month, I can do it too, you're not getting an accurate picture of the market. That's why we use the average of the top 5 for all of these numbers, is because that gives you a more accurate representation of how you might do if you were in the top 3, top 4, top 5. You get one-hit wonders on Amazon where one product's doing, you know, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, but position 2, 3, 4, 5 are doing nothing. You don't really want to be in those markets. You want to be in markets where at least the top 3 or 4 are doing well because there's enough volume overall. And by looking at averages across the top 5 for reviews, for sales, for profit margin, that just gives you a much, much more accurate overall picture as to how that particular niche is performing. So that's the competition matrix. The competition summary shows the same data in a different format. It's just an easier way to look at it as well. And then my potential products is simply somewhere where you can hit the save button here or on any of these pages. It'll save you a list of potential products for you to investigate further. And if you think, okay, great, this is an item I want to do, you can hit here, and what this will do is it will take you to the ROI analysis. And what this is okay, say I think I'm gonna sell 500 units a month of this product. I'm gonna sell it for $25. The factory price and freight is $5. Boom. What it does is instantly tell you when you can expect to break even, how much profit a month you should expect based on the numbers you've put in, what the return on investment is going to be, and how your cash flow is going to look over 12 months. So basically, what I do with this tool is I've got a new idea. Let's say I've rounded down to 4 or 5 new products that I want to do. And what I do is I put each one in here with how many I expect to sell, what I expect the sales price to be, and the estimated cost. And then it's like a virtual 12 months. Instead of putting the product in Amazon and seeing what happens over the next 12 months, if the numbers look bad on here before I even go, let's say this item costs $15, the ROI is only 25%. Maybe the cash flow, let's say this was $22, the cash flow is only $570 a month. Then I know instantly before ever doing this product that it's not even worth me doing, because the best case scenario of the numbers I've put in, the returns, the cash flow per month is too low, and the return on investment is too low. So the key consideration before I do any item is based on conservative numbers. So if I'm in the top 10 on average and I'm going to be selling, let's say, 300 units a month, does it make sense to do this item? Am I going to make enough money back based on my investment, based on my sales price? Does it make sense before even ordering any samples from the factory? If this looks good, if the returns are going to look good, then I will go on to doing much deeper research and getting samples and moving on as well. And in the advanced options, you can change to standard large, change the weight, you can change the lead time from the factory as well, and all of this will update automatically how much inventory you're going to need each month to order. It will show you. It also shows you your cash flow per month, and then also your net cash position as a cumulative total. So if I did this product at the end of 12 months, I'd be down money. It wouldn't be worth it. But if it was selling for $30 and I thought I could buy it with air freight for $8, then at the end of 12 months, I can expect to make around $35,000 off this item. Okay, this is good. This is worth investigating further. So this is just a final quick check. It's called the ROI analysis. It's in our selection section, and it helps me to decide whether is this product worth doing at all. So I mean, I've covered quite a lot then. Feel free to drop us questions at hello@cashcowpro.com if there's anything you want to know further as well. But I'd like to pass back to Mark and ask if there's anything I can clarify further about what I've gone over.
Well, let's take some questions here for a second. And like I say, if you can switch the screen back to me, I've got something to show up there. And I think I might be able to do it if you can't. I think it's change. Can you see the change presenter in the top right?
There we go. I think that's passed over to you.
Yeah, okay. Dang it. All right, let me get there for a second. All right. I think, too, let me just say, every time I talk to you, I think of that old Tom Cruise movie where he was a sports agent, I think that was what it was, where he walked in the door and he gave this long speech to Renee Zellweger, and she smiles at the end and says, "You had me at hello."
Uh,
And I think because just looking at this as an Amazon seller, and every time I look at your software, you've added something to it, you've refined it, you've made it better and smoother and all those kind of things. But for all of you out there who are on the call with you, I'm saying if I were to create software, this would be it. This has everything. If you're not sitting here and your head's not spinning with all the possibilities of what this does and how it helps you as an Amazon seller, then I don't know what to say to you, because everything from the split testing to finding products to being able to determine the ROI at the end. Because Anthony, I do a lot of coaching, and these are the questions people ask and go over. And right now, most people are doing this manually, which is fine. However, this to me, I think, just seems to make this so much easier, so much better to do. And I don't know. I mean, in our Head Start community, we have people who are starting, who will have their first product, all the way up to people making several $100,000 a year. And I think whether you're starting and you're trying to figure out the best products and get that right to be able to ultimately step two, being able to manage that, I just like what you've done, and I think you've got everything laid out really well. So that's just my standing on a soapbox. And again, I get approached by a lot of people, and a lot of stuff people are putting out there is not very good. And I don't let anything through the proverbial gate unless I think it can be an advantage to people in our community. So I appreciate you putting the software out. I appreciate you being up, and I know it was the middle of the night for you. I know we had a little bit of mic trouble from this end, but I think everybody was able to be able to do that. If you would, why don't you tell them a little about the, and I guess I've created a link to make it easier for everybody here to get, but I know Anthony has been kind enough to give everybody here some discounts and a free trial. Anthony, why don't you tell them about that, and then we'll see if we can take questions.
Sure. Well, Mark's been really supportive of our software from the start. I'm really grateful for all your comments. So what we've done is, as an exclusive for this group, is to do a 67% off the first month. So it's 20 days free for you to test it out, check it all out, and then the rate after that is just $29.97 a month. So it's less than $1 a day. So it's less than $30 a month for all of these powerful features. You can add as many Amazon accounts as you want in there as well. We will be adding EU and UK within June, so it's just being tested now as well. So for that one price, you get all of the features shown. You get unlimited email messages. You can track as many keywords as you want. I know a lot of other softwares, you're paying add-ons, and you've got 4 or 5 softwares to do some of the same tasks, and it ends up being $100 to $300 a month. But for this group, there's an exclusive through the link provided by Mark for that special discount upfront and for that great rate going forward as well.
Well, I appreciate you doing that, and I just will say and I probably shouldn't say this, but the only thing I've told you that you hadn't incorporated is that you should be charging more for this. Because when you get some of these other softwares, it's as much, if not more, for one of the functions where you have whatever it is, 6, 7, 8 different functions in there. So, I mean, this is the only software I've seen that goes from A to Z and takes you from product selection all the way into business management into reviews. And these are the things that truly separate people who are running a business versus people who are just throwing up an Amazon product and hope that it works. So I think you've done a really good job on the software. And again, I thank you for being here, and I appreciate you tremendously giving the discount for our group here. I know they're going to take advantage of that. Can you see the questions on the screen, or do I need to read them to you?
I can't see those, I'm sorry.
All right, well, then let me see if I can just read them here to you. And again,
Sure.
folks, just go ahead. If you've got questions, go ahead and just type those in, and then I'll read them, and then Anthony will be able to respond to them. Jim has a question, says, what does landing price mean?
Landed price is basically the cost of the product from the factory you're buying from. So let's say I'm buying an iPhone case. It costs me $1 for 1 unit. And then if the freight for 1,000 of those is $1,000, then the freight cost for one is another $1. So the landed cost is simply the cost of the product plus the transport into Amazon. It's the total price of the item into Amazon's warehouse. So if you've got packaging costs, the label cost, you add all of those costs per unit together to get a total for how much a product costs. So if I'm selling at $20 and the landed cost is $5, then my margin would be 15 in between. It's just word to describe the total cost of your product into Amazon.
All right. All right. Penny has a question. Says, does Cash Cow Pro come with email templates that are editable? And I guess she's obviously talking about the review section that's in the back.
Yes. So the email templates in there are built in, and you can edit those. You can delete those emails. You can change the sequences however you like. You can add more. You can delete emails. We have created a series that we found works for our products, but you can customize those as much as you want.
Okay. Tom has a question here. Says, how are competitors' sales determined? I have seen comparisons between Jungle Scout and AM Inspector that vary widely with the same product listing. I guess he's basically, okay, I was reading the next one. Basically, so how are you coming up with your data and your information? Because he's right. I mean, I use both of those programs, and you see different numbers for different things, or for the same thing.
That's absolutely correct. The only person who knows absolutely for sure for a product sale is that particular seller and Amazon. So what we do is we follow hundreds of thousands of products on Amazon. We're tracking the change in inventory day to day and tracking that on a periodic basis, on a weekly basis, seeing, so let's say we're following an iPhone case that's for sale, and we see that the inventory goes down over time. By tracking hundreds of thousands of products like that and knowing the BSR, we can link how many of something is selling to the BSR, and then we use data analysis to come up with a line of best fit. So something's ranked number 1, we estimate it sells this much. If it's ranked number 10, it sells this much. And we're adding hundreds of thousands of more products that we track each month. It's not 100% accurate to give you an indication. And because we have so many products in the system, then it will be within a small enough tolerance range that you can be confident that the data is okay. I mean, we're not going to say it sells 100,000 per month when actually it's doing 3,000 per month. What you may find is that we say it sells 90,000 per month and it's doing 110,000 per month. So that's why using an average actually gives you a much clearer picture. You just use one product to base your numbers on. Let's say you find someone selling a camera.
Cutting in and out. Let me see if we can give it a second for some of the bandwidth to catch up, and let me see if I can just try and jump in and answer this. Since seem to be having some sound issues here. Tom, it's just he's taken hundreds of thousands of products and coming up with their own products and variations. And what I find in the programs that do this, you're right, there's a wide variation. But when I first started using them several months ago to now, I find almost every month they get more accurate because they're able to drill down and get more information. So I would suggest on any of these, they're not an absolute, but if you use them as a range, maybe even as an average, I think there's a place in this for this program, AS Inspector, Jungle Scout, all of whatever somebody might use, because I think too, one may be off, and Anthony will be the first to tell you things change, but I have found the numbers of things that I have used to be incredibly accurate based on my own products. And that's all I can say, because obviously I don't know what anybody else is and selling and what, but I find these numbers to be accurate. And as a non-tech guy, I don't care how they're getting them, as long as they're close enough to give me accurate representations. I mean, merchant words, they're not accurate. I mean, but it's an indication, and it's just another bit of information to do. But long-winded way to say, and again, I'm trying to speak for Anthony now since he's having mic difficulties, but regardless of how they're getting them, I find it to be accurate. So with that said, I hope that answers your question, Tom. Let's see if we can get Anthony back. Maybe his bandwidth is caught up a little bit more because he was fading in a little bit out there. Derek's asking you, Anthony, how are calculations for shipping costs calculated? Is it using some industry standard numbers?
Okay, so my background, in addition to doing all of the import and export and sourcing in China, is I worked with thousands of freight forwarders to create an instant algorithm for calculating freight prices. So what we're doing is, yes, we're using industry standard numbers for the air freight and the sea freight with factoring costs. The reason we calculate based on 1,000 units is just to give an indication of how much that's going to be per unit for sea and air, because if you use a small number, the base costs just go through the roof. It's inaccurate. So we use 1,000 units. We take the size and the weight of that product, and we can give you an estimation that's accurate enough for you to be able to base your numbers on.
Okay. Neil is asking, is this available in the UK?
We are just finalizing the testing of EU UK, and it'll be launching within June, so the next 7 days. And the price will be the same, and you can add multiple country accounts for the same total price with the link provided.
Okay. Cynthia is asking, it says, is this downloaded on your computer or accessed on the internet?
Via the internet.
Okay. I think that's good too, and that as updates come along, we don't have to worry about them from this end or browser or whatnot.
Exactly. What people find is when they log in, that something might have improved overnight because we're working on it constantly. And instead of having to constantly update or get notifications, the software just improves over time while you're using it too.
Well, I'll say just even in the short time you and I have been talking about this, and as I look at it every so often, I mean, folks, I don't even think he's even fan. Again, this is just me speaking here, just from an observation. I don't. The things he's talked about, he's wanted to add. You know, my thoughts have been, gosh, you're putting in too much because it gets to be overwhelming at a certain point. But gosh, I can't imagine I'm being able to add a whole lot more features in here. But he's added a whole lot even in the time here. So I imagine a few months from now, this will probably go and pick and order the product for you. All right, Derek has a question. He says, Derek, I'm not really sure what this means. If you want to elaborate, we'll come back to it. It says, where is the link? Is it one of the emails sent out before this webinar? I'm not real sure what you mean, which link you're talking to. Anthony, does that sound?
I think he's referring to the link for the exclusive for the group.
Okay, well, that's right. The one that you see right here on the screen, Derek, which is markscottadams.com/CCP for Cash Cow Pro. And that's the one with the discounts that he was kind enough to do for our group here. And he's also added, says, are you able to add images and links in the follow-up emails? I would imagine links, no, but can you add images?
Images, not yet. We've got attachments that you can add. Okay. But images, I'm going to put that down on my notebook now, and that will be added within 2 to 4 weeks. And that's something we try to do. Is when users come up with something which they need, which we think works for other users too, we'll try and build that into the software. So I'll make a note of that now, and I'll get onto that with the development team in the morning.
Okay. Ken is asking, will this work with TaxJar, accounting software?
It doesn't integrate with TaxJar currently.
Okay. Thomas said, is there a feature for tracking sales of a particular product listing?
So if you wanted to track competition, currently it's for your products and then your main niche. But what we are going to add is so you can track 4 or 5 competitors that you want to follow or more, and that will be coming. But I think that's around 6 to 8 weeks away, based on our development schedule that we've got at the moment. It will be coming though.
Okay. And Tom is asking, he says, well, the $29.97 monthly price last indefinitely, or is that something short term?
Yes, so for existing users, if you sign up at that price, we'll never go back and then increase your price later. It'll be fixed for life.
Okay. All right. And then Penny says, again, can everybody see the screen that we have here there is the link here to be able to go do this, which is, she's asking about the link, and it's markscottadams.com/CCP, and that's where you go to see all of this. Okay. In case you can't see the screen there. Software from SalesBacker without it. Jancy writes in and says, how would I switch to your software from SalesBacker without service interruption?
So what you could do is just switch for, if you have multiple products, first of all, just move one across, and then all you have to do is hit the enable button next to the sequence of messages. So you could literally change the emails as you want them, hit the enable button with us, and then switch it off at the same time for SalesBacker, and then migrate across your products that way. So we'll only start to send the emails out once you hit enable, so you can control when you turn one off and turn the other off as well.
All right. I think the reason everybody's asking, which again is my fault, somebody had typed in and says the screen's not showing. So evidently that's why people are asking. So again, I thought it was showing. So again, it shows I'm better at merchant and intuitive things than I am at hitting simple tech buttons. I guess I had to hit show my screen again when we changed presenters back. But anyway, you can see the link up there now, which is marscottadams.com/CCP for, of course, for Cash Cow Pro. Okay, I'm thinking people can see on the screen now. Okay, BJ says, does it integrate with QuickBooks?
It doesn't integrate with QuickBooks as well, so it's standalone from accounting software, but that's because everyone uses a different accounting software at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then Gary's saying, does it work with Canada?
It does work with Canada, yes, and we will be expanding to cover all of the Amazon marketplaces worldwide over the next 2 months.
Okay, a couple of them here we're getting that have already been asked. All right, people are typing on here. They don't see the screen, so I think I've hopefully you can see the screen now. Yes, it's on the screen, so hopefully that's there. People are typing that in now. Again, so that's marscottadams.com/CCP if you can't. So again, this is where as your kind of fearless leader here, this is why I have never created software because I can't even run GoToWebinar, much less create software like this. So I'm glad there's somebody like you, Anthony, to be able to do this because I'd be doomed if I were trying to do this. All right, Tom has asked a question, says, is there limits to the number of email messages sent out?
There isn't. It's currently unlimited. What we do, though, is if anyone has over 100 products that they're selling, we just check it on a case-by-case basis to make sure you're not slowing it down for all the other users. But currently, we have no upper limits for emails.
All right. You know, I'm just sitting here looking at this, and what I really like about it is the fact that when I do my high-end seminars and China trips and things like that, I actually spend a lot of time talking about business management and the concepts of doing this. But I think once somebody understands the concepts, I'm still teaching go back and do it manually. With this software, it's able to do the math and simplify things for you. But I think, too, the concepts are not that hard to take. And I just kind of like what you're doing here. And I like the fact I can just see people making money with this, whether they're getting started or they have that 100 products that you're talking about. But I'm just the more I'm looking at this and thinking about it as I'm reading questions and what, and I hope everybody else feels that way because this is the most definitive software that I've seen introduced in the Amazon industry. And I won't say, there's a lot of good things out there and still see uses for those, but this is A to Z, folks. To offer to the users. Okay, Penny's asking a question about talk about the support offered to users. I mean, it's like videos, I guess, internal things that you have in there.
Okay, so every page has a little red question mark, and if you hit that, it shows a video explaining exactly how that page and how that feature works. When we update the features, then we update those videos as well. In addition to that, we're here for you. If you email us at hello@cashcowpro.com, we'll explain if there's something that's not clear in the video or not clear from the feature as well. And we usually reply within 12 to 24 hours too.
Okay, good. Well, I think we just had somebody ask for me to type the link in the search box, which I think I did that right, and hopefully you should be able to see that there. Rennie's asking, it says, does it work on mobile devices?
We have a basic app, which is free, that just shows limited data. You can see Cash Cow Pro on a mobile device, but the screen's extremely small. I mean, there's a lot of data there. We recommend that, yes, you can check your sales number for the day on your mobile, but it's much better to work off a laptop or a desktop, be able to go through your account and check your numbers, because there is actually, as I ran through, a lot of data and a lot of features there that maybe on a mobile you're not going to get the full benefit of.
Okay. Yeah, because this is something I know we all use mobile devices, phones and things quite often, and I guess maybe you can check some things on it, but as extensive as this is, I'm still thinking the laptop or the desktop to be able to get the full picture here. Tom says, if we have multiple seller accounts, do we need a separate account login?
No, you can add multiple seller accounts to the same Cash Cow Pro account, and there's no additional charge for those. Just log in once to Cash Cow Pro, and you can choose to see your numbers by single account or all your accounts combined.
Okay. All right. Cynthia has typed in, says, since Amazon reads left to right, talking about, I guess, in the keyword section you mentioned, then in our search terms, does ankle bracelet need to be typed in as bracelet ankle?
Well, if your keyword is ankle bracelet, you would go ankle bracelet in the search terms, because
Right.
you want to follow the phrase. Whereas if you typed in bracelet ankle, Amazon would consider that to be a different phrase, and there might be a lower search volume for that as well. So I've just found that in all my tests on the front and the back end, that ankle bracelet, following the word order of the phrase, just seems to work better left to right.
Right. Yeah, that's something I found too, because I know my products, I always get better listings than what my sales deserve because I'm convinced I get these things right. And I think this software does a long way of helping you get past some of the trying to guess and figure out stuff, and especially when you can go back in and split test. So with that said, I think we've gone a little bit longer than we intended, and again, had some tech issues a little bit, combination of me and my lack of good webinar skills and a little bit of mic issues there. But regardless, I appreciate everybody being here. And if you have any questions, Anthony, you want to say the email address where they can follow up with you? It was hello at, what was it?
Hello at cashcowpro.com. That's CASHCOWPRO.com.
Okay. All right. Well, then that I think we'll do everything for today. And again, if you got any questions for me, you can go ahead and contact me, and then I will try and address those. But if they're software specific, go to Anthony. And again, I thank you for being there. And I know it's middle of the night again, and so appreciate you staying up to talk to our group today. And based on the comments and the different things we're doing here, people seem to really like what you're doing. I think you got a good product, and I wish you the very best of luck on it. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Well, good. Well, let's see. I guess I go one last question came in here. It says, what's the deadline for purchasing? I think that was going to be the price for a while. So you're not doing any arm twisting things here. So when you need it, go ahead and get it. And I think you'll be fine. So with that said, thanks all. And I look forward to seeing everybody next time. See ya.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.